Hey everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life, episode 29 for November 15th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I have the good fortune to be your host this evening. And luckily for me, it's not just me, I'm not by myself. I have two of my favorite panelists here to talk about all things Tesla. Let's introduce them and get this show on the road. Our man in the Great White North, it's Mr. Mark Coughlin.
It's not snowing here yet, but it's coming, I'm sure. So, welcome to the show, everybody, from wherever you're tuning in from.
Yep. Not snowing yet? I thought it was supposed to snow.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, it's coming.
Well, and not very much farther south, our man in Chicago, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Happy November 15th to you.
You know what? I probably shouldn't even bring this up in the air, Tony, but I'm guessing that's a work shirt you're wearing.
Oh, it is, because somebody scheduled the podcast like 15 minutes after I get home from work.
I figured. No. You look nice. You look very nice, Tony.
Thank you.
That's all I'm saying.
I took the tie off, though, if that helps.
Did you? Where's the, I can't. I'm trying to imagine you in a tie. I'm having a hard time. But let's talk about the news. We have as we referred to it on What Drives Us, a metric shit ton of news this week. So let's get into that. Let's Mark, I think you have the first lead off here. Let's talk about a new supercharger.
Yeah, we're going to pass that over to Tony.
Tony, excuse me.
Yes.
All right.
Listen.
Catch that one. Okay.
I had no idea that I had listed that first.
Yeah. So a Tesla had been working on, as we've talked about, a new kind of charging station, superchargers. And it's not just superchargers. This is now, the best description is like truck stop. And the really cool part here that I think Mark's putting up some pictures here, is, I mean, not only do they have, 40 different superchargers, but there's a store and all the superchargers are covered, and they're covered with solar panels. I don't know where Tesla's getting the solar panels for this.
Yeah, that's a mystery, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised it's not printed on the underside of the awnings. But yeah, so there's an entire store, and there's picnic tables, and it's not open yet, so we don't know exactly what they're going to sell. I'm sure there will be food and drink.
Actually, newsflash, it just opened today.
No way.
Yep, today.
Oh,
wow. Okay, there you have it. Well, I still don't know what they're selling, but yeah. So there was some hint, I think it was in the pictures, that they are going to have use it sort of even for display, a showroom for Tesla Solar, Tesla Power Walls, other Tesla product. Maybe you could even buy a big heavy rocket. You never know.
Yeah, a used Falcon 9 is in the back.
Right. Yes. I hear
rides.
There's a very good delivery method. They just land it in your parking lot.
Yeah, just schedule it, and it'll come over and land in your parking lot. Yep.
We need your exact latitude and longitude.
Why would you need that?
You'll see.
You'll find out. Yeah, at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. That's fantastic. What an awesome delivery that would be.
I think Amazon's already looking into that.
Yes.
But so yeah, this is really cool with the it's a new, again, the sort of the new superchargers that is currently in Kettleman City between Los Angeles and San Francisco. And then there's one, I don't know, did this one open in Baker between Los Angeles?
No, that one hasn't yet.
Baker's
okay. So Kettleman City is officially open. So someone needs to run there and get pictures of the inside and share it with us so that we can find out what's going on.
And just an update as well, and I'll just stop screen sharing here. But the Kettleman City, since it just opened today, there has been a couple people that have shared a few extra photos with us, and it's inside our Facebook feed. And you can see a couple pictures of the interior. So if you're not already following us on our Facebook feed, join in and take a look at the extended pictures. I think we got like 10 of them on the Facebook feed.
Oh,
I'm going there right now. I'm done with this now.
I should probably start following us on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, and I think just for those of you who aren't familiar, you're thinking Kettleman City, what a dumb name. This is on the 5 freeway, which is in the San Joaquin Valley, and it's the halfway point between Los Angeles and, as Tony mentioned, San Francisco. So this is a big deal. This is a big truck stop area. There are nothing else around here but chemical plants and agricultural and farms.
Industrial farming.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, big farming, but I mean, this in the middle of nowhere. But as you said, it's a very important halfway point. So it makes sense. This isn't this makes total sense that Tesla has this big, huge, important multi-station thing, and with a place to go and get something to drink and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, so the early report said that it's got a couple of like vending machines in it. You've got a lounge area with some seating on both the inside and, as Tony mentioned, like picnic tables on the outside. And then it also has like a little Tesla shop where you can buy your Tesla t-shirt and whatever else, I believe, a few other trinkets. No Falcon 9s have been seen yet, but you never know. That might be a second part of the opening.
Yet.
Yeah, yet. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see if you know, no one's mentioned if like free Wi-Fi is available. Maybe that's something that's coming. I don't know. It's been mentioned with other people before. So it just opened. I don't think it's like a soft opening. They probably will have an official one later. But there are people that have gone in and picked up a charge this afternoon. So it's that new. So if you're in the area, drop in, take a few photos, and send us some more. Happy to post them.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to see that. And that's you can contact us on Twitter at the Tesla Life, right?
Correct. Yes.
I had to kind of guess through that because I was.
It was it's coded really. So yeah.
Okay. Next up, I think we're going to Mark this time.
We are this time. Yes. This kind of two of them go into one. Over the weekend, Tesla had a event in New York City, and sorry, wrong one. There happened to be a gentleman who spoke, who was in the Fremont area, and had gone to an event outside of anything normal. It was just like a softball game or something along that line. And he had happened to run into a gentleman who claimed he was a supplier of Tesla. Now, this gentleman indicated that he was indeed a reservation holder, and they got to talking about the Model 3 and what was going on. And this supplier had made some comments that there was a number of things that were going wrong with the Model 3 rollout. And he pointed particularly to the robots and the welding area for the Model 3. Now, his name was never mentioned. It was never published. The supplier was not identified. The person wasn't identified. It wasn't an anonymous person, because obviously if any of these things were true or even not true and this person's name was published, they would most likely lose their job, or maybe they would lose a contract or something along that line. Mm-hmm. But in this, I guess, in this media blackout that we're all dealing with, that we're really only getting bits of information from second and third hand sources, this story was a little bit interesting, that this gentleman had indicated that there are more problems that exist than just the battery packs. There are other things that are going on as well. And I'm not sure if any of us are really surprised that there are other things beside the one thing that Elon said that was really holding them back. I think that we believe there's a number of things that they're experiencing for the first time, or there's slowdowns in, that there's issues or problems that they're trying to overcome. So I don't think that this is too much of a surprise, but it is a little bit of information that, again, from an anonymous source, so we're not completely sure if it is true or not. But we thought we would share and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, it is very interesting, to read this, and yeah, it's the whole anonymity that causes you to question it.
Although certainly, if this was a true story, you could understand that this person couldn't be identified because
right.
they would be barbecued.
It is interesting that the source, who, for lack of a better name, we'll call him Deep Throat, says, he's a supplier and Tesla has asked them to ramp down the parts that they supply. And then he specifically names the robots doing the body welding. If I ran a company and I had to tell suppliers to ramp down what they're sending me, I don't know that I would go into detail into exactly what is causing the delay.
Right.
Obviously, totally unsubstantiated. We have no idea if the person is making this up or not. And if you read through the comments, they read through like standard Tesla forum comments. About 90% of the people despise the person who said something negative, and they're tearing this guy a new one. And there's a few others that are like, oh, okay, maybe. The thing that I think is interesting is it does jibe with what we've heard from other sources. That the robots in Fremont aren't up to speed yet. That the part of the problem is that they're so far away from the robot supplier that people are flying back and forth to deal with this. Some of this comes from the Seeking Alpha article, which, again, if you choose not to believe it, that's fine. Some of it does ring true, and it'll be interesting to see. Again, we saw that one out, and here's the thing that sticks in my mind: that one outlying 1,000 4-digit VIN number.
Yep.
We've seen where's 700, 800, 900. We've seen 1,100 yet. We just
there was a huge jump. There was a 300 jump basically between numbers. We did see one that went higher this week, and I think I've got it for the end of the show. But there's other ones like we have not seen in the 800s. We've not seen a low 900. We've not seen a high 700. So there's, and I'm not saying that we get to see all of it, because this is circumstance of when we receive things, when other people record it and send it in or share it. So I'm not saying that we see everything, but there is that kind of gap that exists.
Yeah, that's a huge gap.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's all I got. I'm not
so,
here.
And it's like you said, Russell, there are these little bits that we're getting here and there. And after you get a number of bits that kind of point at the same type of thing, you begin to think that, there's some credibility to it. That there are these, there are these hiccups that are going on. It may not be with the exact piece of equipment or area, but we've also heard that Tesla has been stocking up in their parts area. That there's a lot of parts that are starting to fill the factory, and of course, if that's the case, they're on the horn to the suppliers to say, "Hey, slow it down. We cannot receive more of this at this time. So back off on the plans that we had in place, and let's slow things down till we get our both feet underneath us."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just, I'm just going to flog this one last time. And, stories of this, of issues and, reduced ramp up or increased ramp up time, I guess, reduced ramp up speed. If Elon hadn't promised such a fast ramp up, this would be essentially a non-starter. It would be, we're trying to make a new car and we're running into some hurdles. We'll update you with progress. But since he made these grandiose projections, we'll be making 1,000, by this time, and we'll make, this time and this time, and this is, you see what I mean? It's
but I think that he was screwed any way he did it. Like when you're a company that's in that much debt and pulling money in and trying to get a new line going, I think as we all said at the beginning of this, we had hoped they'd be able to fulfill the ramp that they had said. Mm-hmm. But we all assumed that we've seen delays with the S and the X, and we assumed they would be here for the 3. And lo and behold, they are here for the 3, currently. So we're all just hoping that they've learned some lessons from the past and are able to clear the hurdles faster than they have in the past. But I think that Elon is his own worst enemy, as you said, Tony, when it comes to projecting numbers. But I really think that the stock market or the investors or the powers that be that question him on these earnings calls, they were gonna barbecue him regardless. Like it didn't matter. It didn't matter because he's got a lot of their money, and he is trying to go to a way of pushing these cars out in a certain amount that of course these investors want to hear, which drives the stock price, which is like a circle that just keeps feeding itself. And then as soon as there's a cut in it, then all hell breaks loose about what's going on and who's responsible and where's the main problem. Like it's incredible. I don't know how the guy exists really, like to live in that type of world. It's all great when it's running fine, but man, if you're not there, wow, talk about being on a barbecue.
Yeah. So I hate to do this, but did anybody read the Rolling Stone article today besides me?
I have not read it yet. I saw the cover just today.
Yeah, I've not.
I may have it. So we'll save that for next week.
Okay.
We'll save that for next week. Mark, your next story is coming up with a rather interesting.
Look at that!
Yep.
Yes, indeed. It looks like somebody got to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, we had a video to roll, and what this video was a gentleman who happened to be in the San Francisco area dropped by a local eatery. I think it was a Carl Jr.'s, maybe. In the back parking lot, he spots this gray Model 3 just sitting there unattended. He goes over to it, takes a few photos, and doesn't the owner show up? And the owner happened to speak with him, and I got to believe he knows he was filming because the guy was holding his iPhone or whatever his device was to film it. And he and his friend are asking the owner a number of questions about the car as they walk around it and film it. And the owner is quite elated that he's being asked questions. He has no problem with what the questions are. And the owner's giving his feedback about how, when he got the car, what he's done with the car, what he likes about it. And he proceeds to let the guy get in his car, film the dash, pop the trunk, talk about the room, move around the car, show the glass roof, go to the outside, look for the ability to put maybe a bike rack or something on it. And the owner was quite complimentary about the car. He was loving it and was able to share that viewpoint with the gentleman and his friend who were filming. So, but it does look, according to Russell now, that video is no longer available on the internet.
Why would they take that down?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Now research needs to be done.
Well, here's a weird thing. If it wasn't a Tesla employee, because that's the only people getting Model 3s right now, if it wasn't the Tesla employee that posted the video, what leverage does Tesla have to take it down?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the
yeah.
Well, and we don't necessarily know that Tesla took it down. Let's be honest, but it certainly looks that way to us, doesn't it? Just from what we know about these NDAs or these friendias that are out there with these cars. Not a very friendly thing to do, but
it sounds French.
But if you happen to see our Twitter post earlier in the week or again on our Facebook. That video was up for a few days. So it's interesting to see that it is now missing as of today. I didn't check it before the show start, so maybe it's been down for a couple days, but I believe we posted it about midweek last week.
Yeah, it's been down for a couple hours because I checked it a couple hours ago and it was down.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know about it until I got the show notes earlier, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll watch this video, and I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting side note to our story, that now it's not available for some reason.
So the next story is a video that hasn't been taken down
Yet.
Well, we don't know. We haven't tried firing it right now.
I've got it here. I loaded it.
Okay.
And the thing that I think is interesting, and forgive me because I'm going to go a little negative here, but I've criticized Elon's use of terminology. I think sometimes he plays a little fast and loose, and it doesn't help Tesla and it doesn't help him, because then people take what he says because he's the owner of the company, he's a CEO, whatever. You know, no one's going to argue that Tesla is anything but Elon Musk. There's lots of other talented people doing things there, but let's be realistic. At the center is Elon. So Elon's called autopilot forever, and he's promised full self-driving capabilities. And this video that I'm about to show you is what happens when you do things like that. People, owners, people who've spent money to buy your product do things like this. Here's a Tesla owner in their Tesla. I love the pine tree, by the way. He's relaxed. He's having fun. Yeah, that's a big fatty. Yeah. Yeah. This is what happens when you're in an expensive car with autopilot. I'm not here to criticize the person who posted the video. I think ultimately one of the people responsible for this is Tesla, and they have to kind of own that. When you sell something to someone, they're going to take your word and go, you know what? I can get high while I drive and lay back in the seat and go, it's all good. Yes, I realize that in the 700-page end user agreement, it says you have to have your hands on the steering wheel, blah, 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 blah. And we all know how many times humans read end user agreements.
Well, we know that they read websites. And we know that the Tesla website says all Tesla vehicles produced in our factory, including the Model 3, have the hardware needed for full self-driving capability.
Yes.
Yeah, at a safety level substantially greater than that of a fully stoned human driver.
Which I don't know if that's all you need, is a little bit better than a stoned driver.
That may be a low bar. I'm not gonna go there.
Yes, but we've touched on this many times, Russell, as you know, as you touch on that. If you say it's fully autonomous, if you call it autopilot, people will stop paying attention, and it's not fully autonomous.
Well, it's not supposed to be yet.
But the thing is, we know from previous experience that Tesla has a hard time seeing a white truck turn left in front of you on a light background, because that happened.
Right.
But we didn't know that was going to be a problem until it was a problem.
Until it happened.
Until it happened.
Absolutely.
We don't know what other gaps in the code exist until those gaps occur. And if you're being stupid and you hit a glitch or you hit a situation the car wasn't expecting, you're now a dead stupid person.
Yeah. You're part of the learning curve.
Yes, but to your point, it's been advertised as a fully autonomous car. Well, not advertised because Tesla doesn't advertise, but it's been talked about as a fully autonomous vehicle. And it might even still be safer than humans. But again, that's a low bar.
And I don't necessarily, like, you're right. It maybe shouldn't be advertised as, or it shouldn't be spoke about in that vein, but it is. And if it isn't Elon, it's others that own the cars or that make YouTube videos or, that discuss it openly on forums. Right. And as a matter of fact, I had the privilege of driving in a 100D recently this summer, and the guy put it on autopilot, and I was just shocked with how well the car read the road and what was going on. And this was on a city street. This was not on a highway. And I don't even think it's, I was nervous watching it happen, me in the car as it's going on. But the car did absolutely everything right. And we as humans, and I've said this before, we as humans, we get used to situations really quickly, maybe too quickly. And we will trust the car that it will make the right decision every time, even though, as Tony mentioned, there could be a number of glitches that remain out there just waiting to happen. But the problem with humans is that we just accept it too immediately and just put our trust in it. And that is that is where people will get hurt.
But if you make a video and say, look, this car drives itself, and this guy makes a video and says, look, this car drives itself so well I can smoke a joint. Another guy tapes a Coke can to his, what was it, a Mercedes?
Yeah, the steering wheel. Yeah.
To the steering wheel. And he does that and says, look, the car will drive itself. If you then get in an accident, then you can go after those people, even though that's stupid. But if Tesla is saying they have the hardware for full self-driving capability, and you have an accident that's the fault of the self-driving hardware.
Right.
Now you can go after Tesla because you can say, you said it had the hardware. See, that's what I'm saying.
That is going to be an interesting number of lawsuits, and I'm sure they're coming. I am positive that those type of things will come.
Anyone else can say it, but the manufacturer should not, unless they're 100% fully confident and they're lawyered up.
Well, I guess we'll be around to see it because it's going to happen soon. Like it is coming, and more of these things are getting on the road, and more of these people that that haven't had even access to a Tesla are going to start to receive these cars, and they will be putting it through its paces. Yeah, I guarantee it. So I guess we'll see.
Huh. Crazy. And the news, the Tesla news this week is out of control.
Yeah, well, we got another two that are kind of together that I started with last time. They're actually okay, and I've skipped ahead again. There's so much news, I'm skipping ahead of it.
No.
There was some information reported that the number of Model 3s produced to the end of October is now at 440 units. So these are ones that have been produced and delivered or be sent on their way to wherever they're going. The number is 440 at the end of October. So here we are 15 days into the next month. We don't know where the number is currently, and all we're doing is collecting basically VIN numbers that we find. But this report that we had attached to the notes indicates that they believe it's about 440 at the end of October. So again, a little higher than what was originally stated, but I'm glad to see the numbers going up, at least officially.
Huh.
And I'm not sure. I think we've lost Tony, or Tony is.
Did we lose Tony? Tony's doing something. You know what? Interesting story that just popped up on Electrek and Automobile Mag an hour ago. But apparently there's a storage facility in Playa Vista, which isn't very far from the Tesla Design Center in Hawthorne. And somebody found a stash of Model 3s there, including VIN numbers 1084 and 1096.
Yes.
Did you see this, Mark?
I think that we had a story in our Twitter feed just a day or so ago about someone who took a picture of a couple of them sitting. There was a white one and a gray one, and they said there was another 6 there. Now, does there say there's a lot more than that in the Electrek story?
That's what they're. Well, Electrek is apparently got it from Automobile Mag, but the Automobile Mag story is down, oddly enough.
Oh.
The link isn't working.
We seem to be having a problem with links.
We seem to. It's totally not on their site. I searched for it. It's gone, which is interesting. But yeah, I thought, well, that
that's strange.
Weird.
That is strange. Yes, indeed.
Odd. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So on our Twitter feed, we did have a story, and I'm just trying to pull that up right now. And I just want to check and see if the name is the same. Now, I'm not familiar, as you would be, Russell, with some of these California cities.
Uh-oh.
But I know that we had posted the city, and we actually even posted the corner that it was on. And we had a few people on our Twitter feed reply back and said, I know what I'm doing on my lunch break. So here it is. Let me just see if I can quickly share that. And I'll just pop that on the screen here.
Interesting that.
There. So it should be shared now.
Yeah. That looks like.
Is that the city?
Yeah, that's
Playa Vista.
Playa Vista.
Playa Vista.
It's right near Hawthorne.
Okay. So this person was able to fire off a few snapshots and indicated that he saw 40 Teslas there altogether, 6 of them Model 3s, at the corner of Jefferson and Centinela. So if you happen to be in the area,
head on by
and want to see some Model 3s, apparently they're there in a storage.
A bunch of them there. Well, what's concerning or what's interesting is that apparently a good number of them have what people are calling inspection labels. To me, it looks like pieces of tape that someone has written on, because that's what it is, but describing problems. Like fascia isn't straight, or adhesive and blister and quarter panel, missing parts,
So this would be items or cars that rolled off the assembly line but have some issues that have to be addressed later.
Depending on who you talk to, that's the theory. That Tesla is stashing these cars here because they're not ready to go. Now, why they would truck them from Fremont to Los Angeles and put them in a parking structure near the design center is beyond me. But I don't, I can only speak about what I do know, and that there's a bunch of these cars in Playa Vista, so you can go see them.
Don't all flood down there at once. Be incognito. Yeah. Just go one at a time. We don't want to alarm anybody.
Don't arouse suspicion.
Yes, that's right. So,
and don't tell them that we sent you.
No, we didn't send you.
Thanks for that.
The next two stories kind of go together. Finally, third time's the charm. Over the weekend in New York City, some investors had the chance of being alerted about a test drive that was given. Let me just try to pull the story up here. Sure, it was here.
Uh-oh.
Right.
What?
Yeah, here we go. It was in Brooklyn, and the investors were invited to a closed door test drive of the car. Obviously, they didn't drive it indoors, but they weren't allowed to bring cameras or photographic equipment or videoing of the cars. And these investors were given the option in Brooklyn to drive the cars, test them out, look them over, sit in them, go over some details of the car. And this was obviously, to calm fears of maybe some investors in the New York area that may be getting some jitters about what the car is and what it's about. And these cars were given to them to try for the afternoon or for a few hours to review. And stories are now starting to come out, 3 or 4 days later, about what they experienced. And again, we've got wild back and forth as to what the story really is. We've got some investor that is labeled in some cases a shorter, if that is,
a common insult.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but some have been flagged that this person is a plant just to drive down the stock price. Yeah. But he went over the car and published some information about how he thought that the build quality was not relatively great. And he went on with some detail about how he looked at how the body panels were fitting together, how the glass, the two pieces of glass on the roof in a corner weren't aligned to his thoughts or his specifications. And he even indicated that maybe, I'm looking at this as a fine-tooth, looking at it through a fine-tooth comb. I'm looking at everything, and I'm micromanaging or micro-examining all of this. And he was posting some negative thoughts. And of course, he got flamed, and everyone was freaking out about it. But it's kind of interesting that, and it's a thought that I would have as someone that was examining every little bit of it is, would you not think that Tesla would deliver the 1 or 2 or 3 of their best cars to something like this that's going to investors?
I think they pulled them right out of that parking structure and sent them straight to Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean,
I really would think that Tesla would go the extra mile because this is a showpiece that's going to be shown to investors that have a lot of money invested or push a lot of people to invest in this endeavor. I would think that the cars would be near perfect. And again, I didn't see it. There's no photographic evidence of it. I'm not sure, but just as a thought, I would think that Tesla would have gone over them with a fine-tooth comb.
I try to avoid the fallacy of assumed competence.
Okay.
Because all too often I find that what I think is logical and reasonable doesn't apply. And I absolutely agree with you, Mark. You would think, right? Somebody would have looked over the cars really closely and made sure they were perfect. At least somebody at each end of the trip, right? And all of that. So it seems odd that somebody would have gotten there and saw something that could be described in the way they did. But it doesn't mean that it isn't true.
Yeah. The one thing I find the most interesting is the quote, Tesla representatives acknowledged some of the fit issues, but stated they believed the Model 3 is much further ahead than were Model X and S at this point in production. So they're basically saying, yeah, we know there's some issues, but hey, we're doing better than we did with our first 2 cars.
Right.
and that's not a great thing to be saying, is it really?
It's not encouraging.
No, I wouldn't say that that's a fantastic quote to be picked up by a publication if you were listening to this be read back to you at Tesla. I think that that's not exactly what you should have said or wanted quoted.
I'm feeling like there's a lot of things kind of coming home to roost for Tesla right now. And this is obviously a super important time for them. And things like the semi truck thing tomorrow, I almost feel like it's a distraction. Now, and I'm not saying they're doing it to be distracting. I'm not going to play that game. I'm saying I wish that they would just be like, you know what, whatever. We're not going to do this. We've got to focus on what we're focusing on, because they'll go to the point of saying, Elon and Straubel are sleeping on the roof of the Gigafactory.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about batteries. And then we hear reports about body panels and other things and robot lines and stuff. It's just, I don't know that I care if SpaceX launches any rockets right now, or the Boring Company digs any tunnels, or Tesla launches any new products. I think what I care about is them getting this Model 3 problem figured out, solved, and they start shipping the shit out of that car. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
I think almost every reservation holder out there is in the same boat.
There's at least a few hundred thousand people that agree with me.
Yeah, I am definitely positive about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Fully agree. In the same way that he postponed the truck launch and said, we're going to go work in Puerto Rico. Okay, that's great. And it was a great humanitarian thing, and you did a really good thing there, just as long as it doesn't pull resources away from the S. You
mean a 3?
That's what I said.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Yeah, right. As long as it doesn't pull away from the 3 and getting that right, and, fix the welders. Get the fit and finish down, get everything lined up. Then you can go, revolutionize the electrical infrastructure of Puerto Rico, or then you can start working on your semi trucks, because they're going to launch, tomorrow. You're going to talk about the new semi truck.
Yep.
How infuriating would it be if the semi truck actually came to market faster than some people were getting their Model 3s?
Yeah, that would be a serious issue, but I don't think that will happen.
I don't think there's any danger of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Your point is completely correct, Tony, but I don't think there's any danger. We're not going to see Model Y or this semi-truck before Model 3 gets bigger.
Yeah, I think Elon has another couple of months. Like, he's got to the end of the next quarter, and then if we're not seeing a lot of these units being pumped out, then he is really going to face the firing squad. I think he has to get this right. He's got another couple months or 2 months and a half before he has to sit in front of investors and answer questions again. And I think that then this next 10 weeks is going to be a real test for Tesla, that they have to clear the hurdles properly before that next earnings call arrives.
Right.
Yes.
And with that, Russell, your story is next.
I have a story?
Woo.
Story? All of a sudden, I'm Steve Martin. Automotive News, one of my favorite sources that I like to, had an interesting story just a couple of days ago. Dana Hall from Bloomberg wrote it. And the story is a little counterintuitive, at least in my world, because I'm not a super patient guy. But basically, they think that Tesla Model 3 people with deposits are fine waiting in line right now, even though the time has been increased. And to come to this conclusion, they talked to 20 people.
Well, that's an overwhelming number compared to 500,000.
Yeah, it's like, how many are you going to go, really?
Granted, there's over 400,000 people waiting, and 20 isn't really what I think anyone could call with a straight face. That's just universe. But journalism being what it is,
yeah,
you go with what you got. They talked to 20 people, and none of them had canceled their orders. 2 people had said that they were.
I think it was 2 people said that they were considering dropping, and 1 person is selling their slot because they have to leave the country.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, that was considering dropping, not dropping.
Right. Considering haven't done it yet.
Yeah. So we're, I mean, that's not.
You're approaching what, 15% there?
Yeah. I mean, rapidly, right?
Three out of 20, man. That's close to 15%.
One person equals 50,000 on that. It's interesting. They talked to some other analysts who were also like us, like everybody else, just kind of blowing smoke out of some orifice or another. Of course, nobody thinks that Tesla's going to cash every one of those deposits. You have that many people sign up, and you have a thing where there's not a promised date, where it's a little ambiguous, and it is, and it continues to be. Certainly some people are going to drop, and even if 10% dropped, 40,000, which is huge, that still leaves an awful lot of people that might hang in there. Right. So people right now, today, at least, are still seemingly pretty confident that Tesla's going to come through and get them their car within a reasonable amount of time. I think that's news.
Yeah. Or maybe not even just in a reasonable amount of time, but they're comfortable with whatever time it takes.
Right. Thank you. Very well said.
Yeah, that was one of the quotes where someone in here said, hey, as long as it takes, with every delay, with every hesitation, it just means that they're taking the time to get it right, and I'm willing to wait for that. Okay. Yeah, if you're fine with that, then great.
Yeah.
Well, as we know, there is a cultish type thing with Tesla and its followers. We are a little bit off, all of us, following this, and some of us are more off than the others, and some of us will follow them to forever. Like there are some of us that are really fanboys about the car and its abilities and the company itself. I don't know what the percentage is with the 400,000 reservations out there, but there is a percentage of that are fanboys, and if they interviewed 20, maybe they got all fanboys. Who knows? But certainly you'd have to get, as Russell has mentioned, you have to get a wider swath of the reservation holders to get any type of reasonable information out of a poll like this.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really easy to go on a Tesla forum and say, I'm a journalist and I want to talk to people. Here's my phone number, call me. But you would get the people who frequent Tesla forums.
Yep. Yeah.
Self-selection bias. And
exactly.
You don't even have a way, apparently, they have a way of knowing these people actually have reservations, right? Because what's to stop me if I'm a poster on the Tesla forum, I don't have a reservation, but you could definitely call a number and say you are. I could.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I
could. But don't say anything negative or everyone will call you a shorter.
If I only had stock to short. That's not the way it works, but I did.
Yeah, so the next story, if we're wrapped up there, is from Electric. They did a little bit of snooping around different tire sizes or wheel sizes and how it affects the efficiency of the car, which is something that we've talked a little bit about before with the aero covers or the non-aero cover wheels and some of the percentages that have been thrown out. They looked at real live cars today. So they looked at S's and X's, and they were able to pull up some examples, and I'll just screen share this. And they were able to show that if you were looking at a P100D with a 21-inch wheel compared to a 19, the 21 would consume about 4.9% more consumption than the 19. So just going up that 2 inches on a P100D Model S, you're looking at that. But what I find interesting is when you move down into the lower battery pack cars, like for example, the Model S with a 60 or 75, the percentage of loss increases. So
Double.
So the wheel jumps tremendously, as mentioned, over double in some cases. And I am not entirely sure why that would be.
Yeah, it's
really crazy because they said it was just simply on a dynamometer.
And then when you get into the Model X, the Tesla SUV, as it would be, the numbers are really large. Yeah. So, we're looking at over 20% of a hit on all the models for the Model X, going from a 20-inch wheel to a 22-inch wheel, which the X has the ability to go to the even larger wheel of 22 inches. So it definitely, the tires sizes are going to affect the efficiency of your car. And I got to believe this will roll down into the Model 3 as well.
Oh, yeah.
So for those out there with reservations and thinking about what wheels you're going to get, just know that there is going to definitely be a hit on the efficiency of your car based on the wheels that you've selected.
And then I have to wonder if someone posts that, Tesla says you're supposed to get this amount of range and I'm only getting 75% of that. Is anyone going to be smart enough to say, what size are your tires?
Yes.
What wheels do you have on there?
Right.
And I'm sure some of that will come through. I know that, with other vehicles too, people aren't getting the range they want. And there's a whole myriad of things that they could be doing differently that doesn't allow them to get to the efficiency that they're expecting. So this is another part of that puzzle that you'll have to be aware of if you're picking up your car and want to get those maximum ranges that are advertised by the manufacturer.
All right. So using these numbers as a benchmark, the biggest hit, of course, is the Model X P100D, the 22 inches versus the 20 inches with 23%. 23% decrease. Does that mean I would get 23% better efficiency if I got 18-inch tires?
Well, I mean, that's
yeah. Yeah, I would think that, that moving down a wheel size or a number of wheel sizes would improve your efficiency as well. So yeah.
So how far down do you have to go to double your distance? I mean, if I got like 6-inch tires.
If you're driving on 6-inch tires, man, you are efficient.
Yes.
6-inch solid rubber tire.
You look like a bit of a dope, but you are efficient. Because the car also won't go over 25 miles an hour.
Maybe that's where the efficiency thing is.
And as a wrap up to the stories this week, we'll share again another screenshot here. A lot of screenshots this week.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier in the show, this is the new reigning champion of the serial numbers. So we now have a 1090 that has shown up on the forums, and this is the highest one that we've seen so far to date on the Model 3.
And that one's in Tampa, if I'm reading the thing correctly.
Correct. Yep, Tampa, Florida. This arrived at I don't know which one of the Tampa dealer or the showrooms it was at, because there are a couple, correct, Russell? Wasn't there a couple?
There's one.
Oh, there is one. Okay, so that would be the one that's at that mall near the airport in Tampa. Oh, I'm talking showroom. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you're talking service center.
I'm talking service center. Yeah. The service center in 301.
Right.
Is there a showroom in the International Mall? There may be.
There is. I was there, so I know it was there. Of course, I haven't been there recently. Maybe they've moved it too.
No. I'm sure.
Just like the downlink, everything I go and see earlier is now gone. But
and the only reason I know about the service center is because that's where you go to test drive.
That's where you go to test drive and most likely pick up the car would be at the same place, right? So
yeah, absolutely you would. Yeah.
That's where the Model 3 was delivered and the shot was taken. So
and of course it's rained because it's Florida and you can see
it's Florida and it rains every day in Florida. Just depends on how much.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that is the news, and my gosh, we chewed up an hour, no problem.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, let's do some shout outs and go home. Tony, you got anything this week?
Yeah, well, I'm in the chat room, and I want to give a shout out to Matt, who at about halfway in the show said that 1090 is the highest VEN spotted, and so shout out for taking the wind right out of Mark's sail there. But also Lee and JT is in there, and Ken. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Yeah. Thanks for being in on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Mr. Matt.
And if you would like to follow us through the week, you can follow us on Twitter at The Tesla Life, which you see down here in my little red box here. And also you can follow us on Facebook, The Tesla Life #1. And of course, and I apologize for my camera. It seems to be refocusing a lot, but I'll have to swack it.
I just assumed there was a temporal distortion in Canada.
It's that damn metric system thing.
Right.
It's the metric focusing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. And also, if you have the ability, please connect to our YouTube channel, press subscribe, and you'll be notified for every show when it starts.
Absolutely.
Yes. And you'll be notified every time Tesla takes down one of our videos.
Well, hopefully, right? I mean,
yeah, I know that would actually maybe boost our ratings. Who knows?
Let's see. Well, my shout outs this week, I, as always, want to thank Lee Moon for our theme music. Lee Moon, one of our viewers, composed it, performed it, and lets us use it for free. So thank you, Lee Moon. And thank you, Tony Schaefer, Mark Coughlin, for being here.
Thank you.
We got this week, and already I'm bookmarking stuff for next week. It's gonna be a busy time.
Now, do we want to mention anything about the upcoming event tomorrow?
Was there something tomorrow?
There apparently is something tomorrow.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It starts at 8 p.m. Are we going to be broadcasting live?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
If you search YouTube for the Tesla Life Show and look and you see our fine red logo and you subscribe, you will be notified if we do broadcast.
So check with us tomorrow on the different media channels, and you will see what is going to happen at 8 p.m. Pacific.
And yeah, okay, so that's 8 p.m. Pacific, 6 Central, 5 East Coast.
Correct.
I have to do this every single time.
No, you're on the other side.
Right,
so
right.
I went the wrong way. I do that every time.
Yeah, 10 o'clock your time.
8, 9, 10 o'clock my time. He's out of his mind. 11 o'clock on the East Coast.
11 o'clock, haven't seen him yet.
Right.
Mr. Fashionably Late.
Yeah.
We may be there. We would like to do it,
Right.
but we've got to work out the logistics. Do check in on our Twitter feed, on Facebook somewhere, if you're not a subscriber, and you will find out where we'll be tomorrow at 8 p.m. You'll probably be in front of your computer, and if you are and we're doing it, you want our commentary.
You want to be notified.
Derek in the chat room has the running poll right now is 9 o'clock Elon time.
9 o'clock Elon time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think that's a safe bet.
Quite possibly.
So other than that, thanks to all of you who tune in and watch us live, or stream us later on, or just listen. Tune in next week and find out what is going on in the Tesla life. See ya.